I made a 1-minute video about my workshops before, and this is definitely going to be the long-winded version of that video. So I just kind of wanted to give you guys an introduction as to why I started teaching people, what you might get out of the workshop, and what you might expect the schedule to be like, and how things sort of work. So I started teaching because people kept asking me if I was going to teach workshops in their area. And teaching was always something that I was interested in doing. I thought about teaching at a local university, but I didn't want to end up with students who didn't want to work as professionals and they were just looking for an easy A. So when a friend of mine nominated me to teach at a photo convention, I thought it was great, and it really got me off my ass so that I would actually start teaching. Because like a lot of you, I'm a bit of a procrastinator, and I needed a push, so I'm glad he did it. I've had this great opportunity where I've got to travel all over the US and make friends in every city, and it's really been an honor and a privilege. And I love the fact that I'm able to meet photographers, and then after the workshops, I'm able to see their work and see how they grow, and it's really rewarding. And I just really love to see it, and I love keeping up with people. And I'm just so glad that my friend finally got me off my ass and got me out here doing these workshops. I've been a photographer for over 20 years and making a living at it. In the last 12 or so years, I really got into lighting and shooting portraits of people. And over that time, most of what I learned was through experimentation and just practice. And I really want to help people fast forward so that it doesn't take them 12 years to get to where I am. I kind of want to give people a leg up and, help them out. And I think a lot of photographers are very secretive about how they don't want to share this secret that they've learned. Like, it doesn't really matter to me. I could teach you every single thing I know, and at the end of the day, we're still going to take pictures differently. And you're going to need the practice of going out there and executing and developing your own ideas and all of those things. And so I've never been one of these secretive, sort of hold everything back kind of photographers. And I know that you've come across them a lot, and that's just not me. So let's talk about those workshops. I do both a 1-day and a 2-day format. So we'll go over both of them in general. Well, pretty deep, actually. So it starts off, and the first day usually goes about the same. So the beginning of the first day for both formats, I go over the pre-production process. This covers casting, hair, makeup, styling, communication, just sort of best practices. And then we start going over lighting setups. And we start off simple and we get a little more complicated, and throughout the day we get a lot more complicated. In the afternoon, we'll work with a professional model to recreate some of my more popular images. And this is where the hands-on part really gets started. So I will show a diagram, a behind-the-scenes photo, and a final photo, and I will ask the attendees to help me move everything into position. And then we'll tweak it, we'll get it just right. I'll talk about why I set the power on each light at the level that it's set at. We'll use a light meter. I love having a light meter nearby. I use it all the time. And we'll use that light meter to make sure that everything is set up correctly and the brightness levels are just exactly where they need to be. I think using a meter is great because you're able to repeat your results no matter if you're in a white box studio or a really small conference room. So I'll go through and I'll shoot a series of test shots with the model, and then I'll shoot a handful of final images because I want to make sure that the model gets photos at the end of the workshop. That'll keep them happy and motivated, or at least they'll get them a week later. And we also use those photos in the retouching process. But after I'm done taking this handful of photos, I will turn it over to the attendees and they'll each take turns. I don't hover over people and sort of tell them they can only take 3 images. I kind of just let it flow. If we're running behind schedule, that means more than an hour per look usually, then I will speed things up and move things along. But normally I'm just kind of letting things go as they are and using the honor system. But I really want to keep on track so we get at least 5 setups done in 5 hours. And that's my main goal. At the end of the first day for the 1-day format, we'll go over retouching, and then that'll be the end of the workshop. I'll go into it a little bit. I'll go into the retouching more in depth at the end of the 2nd day discussion. So for the 2-day workshop, in the morning of the 2nd day, I kind of throw the students to the wolves, if you will. So I will ask everybody to come with 2 or 3 ideas of lighting that they would like to recreate. Now, this could be a photo that I've taken before that we didn't go over on the first day, or it could be any photo that you find online. And so I give everybody 2 turns, usually, of about 24 to 30 minutes so that we can recreate the look that they've brought with a model on their set. And I will help them, and the other attendees will help them execute that vision. And if during their block of time, there's time left over, then the other people take photos as well. But when the time is up, we move on to the next look and we start executing the next person's vision. And it's a really action-packed, full, fun day. I really enjoy it because I feel like there's a lot of learning going on and everybody's sort of getting to focus on that one thing that they wanted to focus on, or 2 things they wanted to focus on. And everybody's learning from each other and their ideas and so forth. And then of course, I always love it because I feel like I'm on the spot because they'll hand me this problem and be like, okay, solve it. And actually, that's the best thing about going to a workshop, I think, in person, is I can show you diagrams and behind the scenes photos and all sorts of things online, but there's nothing like seeing someone struggle in person and try to figure out how to fix things that come up. I had to sort of embrace this because at first when I was teaching, it was a little difficult because I felt like, oh, there's all these people looking at me and they're judging me and I can't believe that I can't pull this off right now. But then I learned through talking to people that they really liked to see when I encountered a problem because they got to see how I fixed that problem. And I think as photographers, that's what it's all about. We're problem solvers. Then in the afternoon, we'll go over retouching. So I'll have sort of narrowed it down a little bit as the workshop goes on, and I'll get it down to about 100 images. And then I'll go over my photos with the attendees, and together we'll pick the best ones. And then I'll ask everybody to select collectively 3 or 4 images for me to retouch, and I'll demonstrate how I do that using Adobe Lightroom. And that's what I try to use for like 95% of my retouching, because if I decide later that I've messed up and it's too dark or too bright, I can easily fix it. And it's not like in Photoshop where you're kind of locked into the results a little bit. A lot more flexibility, I should just say. Then at the end of the 2-day workshop, I ask the attendees to go through their photos and retouch a handful and submit them for review. So I'll do a critique of people's images anonymously, and then together with the attendees, we'll vote on which one is the best one. And if we have a sponsor for the workshop, like we've had lately, V-Flat World, then the winner of this photo contest will go home with their very own V-Flat. So anyway, guys, I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below, and I will get back to you soon. And more importantly, I look forward to meeting you.